Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And tonight, from the Great American Ballpark in the Queen City of Cincinnati, the Reds playing host to the St. Louis Cardinals. And this continues opening week on Fox Sports Midwest. In center field tonight, making his season debut of 2015, Randal Grichuk in the lineup. And with Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Delighted to have you with us for this Friday night and all weekend right here on Fox Sports Midwest. The Cardinals and the Reds. Reds already 3-0. They swept Pittsburgh out of town. They're playing great baseball. Should be an entertaining weekend.
Cardinals have gotten the best of the Reds the past couple of seasons, but the Reds still have a very good lineup. A tough season a year ago, a lot of injuries, but they are playing like they have a chip on their shoulder so far this year.
Jason Marquis, that's right, Jason Marquis getting a start tonight for the Reds. John Lackey for St. Louis. Yachty could be busy because Billy Hamilton has been running wild. 6 steals already. Baseball comes your way next. trip and a visit to Cincinnati. The Reds 3-0 on this young season, having swept the Pirates out of town. Matt Holliday is in the lineup. Baseball comes your way next. It reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. Visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealers for great prices on all our new 2015 vehicles today. And save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. The Great American Ballpark, located on the winding banks of the Ohio River. Mike Matheny grew up not too far away from here, came to a lot of games. The old Synergy Field, Riverfront Stadium. And Brian Price in his second year, former pitching coach of the Reds, and now leading the Reds to a 3-0 start.
And I think both of these managers happy that their team is going to be playing a game under blue skies and nice weather. Cardinals dealt with bad weather in Chicago, and the Reds have had plenty of rain delays in their first series, though they did sweep the Pirates. Price certainly happy about that, but it's a beautiful night here in Cincinnati.
They're used to it. 23 rain delays the Reds were a part of last year, with 15 of the 23 coming right here at this ballpark. If they are healthy, and if this lineup can stay intact, we'll see just how far the Reds can go.
Well, it's pretty much of a do-over for this team from a year ago. They did have a lot of injuries last year, so they basically just stayed right where they were. They did add Marlon Byrd, but this is basically the Reds team that we saw a year ago.
Game 2 of the season and of the series against Pittsburgh. Joey Votto. The game-winning hit. Polanco's throw not in time. That was at about 2 in the morning. And then yesterday, they're the first team back to action after that late night. Marlon Byrd. Polanco again. Can't make the catch. Frazier trots on in. And the Reds off to a 3-0 start. Rain delays in all 3 of those games against Pittsburgh. Matt Carpenter will lead things off for St. Louis, followed by Jason Hayward, then Matt Holliday. Matt Adams, great numbers against Cincinnati a year ago. Johnny Peralta, Yadier Molina, Colton Wong, Randall Grichuk, and the pitcher John Lackey batting ninth. He had 42 wins in 3 years wearing the Cardinals uniform. And that's Jason Marquis back in the big leagues.
Very much of a competitor, and we knew him as a sinker ball pitcher, and he hasn't changed a bit. He is using a changeup a little bit more. A year ago, he was out. He was hurt. Back, made this rotation for Cincinnati, and they've had some pretty good pitchers in that rotation over the last few years, so he must have had a very, very good spring.
The Hyundai pitch arsenal, and that's a look at what he's done in his career. Missed all of last season coming back from Tommy John surgery. He did pitch, though, a little bit in the minor leagues. His last start was 2013, and at that time he was wearing a Padres uniform, and that's the last time we've seen him in the big leagues.
Well, he really relies on that sinker. When he gets the ball up, he's going to get hit, and it's very, very important for him to get the low strike. In particular, I always felt when he was with the Cardinals that the umpire behind the plate was actually an important part of the game. Will he get the pitch at the knees or not?
That umpire tonight is DJ Rayburn. Joe West at first, Kerwin Danley at second, Lance Barksdale down at third. The 1-0 pitch. Taken for a ball. 2 balls in, no strikes. 64 degrees, our game time temperature, and a beautiful night here in Cincinnati. Already Jason Marquis, and we saw this a lot too when he was in St. Louis, would be frustrated with the strike zone, and already has looked back into the umpire, also looked into the Reds dugout, questioning the strike zone. Look at that. He's just staring back at the home plate umpire.
Well, he's trying to set the tone, just like we talked about. He wants that low strike. He needs that low strike, especially in a ballpark like this, Dan. This hitter's ballpark, very easy to leave in left field, right field, down the line, and he needs that low strike as we look at the delivery, the arm action, and the sinking action of Jason Marquis.
So 4 pitches to start this game, all 4 balls, and now it's Jason Hayward. And there's a strike. The Great American Ballpark has seen the 4th most home runs hit in the last 4 years. Nothing in 2, the count on Hayward. Cincinnati a year ago, 76 and 86, 4th in the National League Central. Their worst showing in 6 years as they went from 90 wins to 76 last year. Outfield is straight away for Jason Hayward. The 0-2 pitch.
Interesting to think about a Reds team that 3 out of 4 seasons they're playing in October in playoff series. Then last year they had such a down season. Seems like that's been a long string, has it not, that the Reds have been down? But really just that one season. Again, a lot of it due to injuries. And Brian Price has tried to hold this team together, but they're under some pressure this year. There's no doubt about it.
1-2 the count. Carpenter bluffed going to second. Now he will go there as that ball scoots away from Devin Mesoraco. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Hayward. Looked like Mesoraco actually wanted to go outside. Yeah, and that pitch inside.
Just pulled it across his body, and not enough time for Mesoraco to cover that much distance and keep that ball in front of him. Plus it had spin on it, and it was moving away from him. Nothing he could do about it.
The 2-2 pitch to Hayward. And we'll do it again.
Dan, you recall that trade when the Cardinals got Jason Marquis. It was Adam Wainwright, Ray King, and Jason Marquis for Eli Marrero and J.D. Drew.
Combined, it has turned out to be 162 wins with Marquis and Wainwright. Pretty good deal.
You know, Ray King did a nice job in the Cardinals bullpen for a couple of years.
He sure did. J.D. Drew did not sign with Atlanta after that 1 year, went to the Dodgers. And a great deal for St. Louis. The 2-2 inside to Hayward, the former Atlanta Brave.
Marrero, by the way, managing in the minor league system for Cincinnati.
A lot of former Cardinals that are involved with the Cincinnati Reds. Let's see Hayward just jump on this pitch on 3-2. Here he comes. A swing and a miss. Runner advances to third. That's Carpenter. And Hayward strikes out. So Mesoraco having an eventful top of the first. Dobbs Tire and Auto Center's defense for the Cincinnati Reds. Behind Marquee here tonight. Marlon Byrd, Billy Hamilton, and Jay Bruce in the outfield. Frazier, an outstanding defensive shortstop, in Zach Cozart. Then Brandon Phillips, Joey Votto on the right side. Mesoraco is behind the plate. They're going to draw the infield in the first inning with Holiday up.
Brandon Phillips a little deeper at the second base position. He has good range and a good arm.
And the first pitch is taken low and outside. Matt Holliday had his 88th game-winning RBI as a Cardinal on Sunday night. He's now third all-time in that department. Moves him ahead of Jim Edmonds. And last year hit .361 with runners in scoring position.
We've already had a couple of balls get away from Mesoraco. He did not receive that last pitch very well. It seems like he's got some jitters behind the plate right now, and it may have to do with the errant command of Jason Marquis, but Cardinals could steal a run here with a wild pitch or a pass ball.
The 2-0. Mesoraco not known for his glove. They talk about him moving laterally. It's below average, but is known for his bat at 25 home runs last year.
And he has a good arm behind the plate, and he's improving as a catcher. He's working at it.
Inside, and a walk to Holiday. Mesoraco out to visit with Marquee. Runners at the corners and one down for Matt Adams. Our Toyota keys to the game tonight.
We're going to emphasize the word control, and the first thing we want to do is control the legs of Billy Hamilton. You mentioned the 6 stolen bases. He's really a key to this offense. An exciting player, maybe one of the most exciting players in the game today. Joey Votto control his bat, and the Cardinals relievers need to control innings 7 through 9. Mike Matheny still trying to get a feel for who he's going to use when in that bullpen, but at some point you're going to need to rely on Rosenthal, Segrist, Jordan Walden to get this job done.
Now it's Adams, who hit .375 against the Reds a year ago. And that pitch taken for a ball. Not to say that one at bat and the first man of the game could completely unravel Jason Marquis, but he was not happy at all with that strike zone to begin this game. It was 4 pitches, a walk, and now he's in all kinds of trouble. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, Dan, I'm sure you remember the control issues that Jake Arrieta was having in the first inning against the Cardinals in Chicago.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he kind of figured it out, didn't he?
He did.
He was very nasty.
He might be their best.
I would agree.
Ahead of John Lester.
Well, right now he is.
The 1-1. 1-2. Matt Adams in 142 games last year at .288. Better part of the season was above 300. Knocked out 15 home runs. Drove in 68. On deck, Johnny Peralta. The 1-2.
I think it'd be fair to say that Jason Marquis had a little bit of emotional edginess to him when he was with the Cardinals.
Well, I just put it this way. He had a lot of edginess to him.
But I think it served him well in his career.
The 2-2. Adams pops it up. Cozart backing up, makes the catch, and a big out. So with 2 outs, it brings in Johnny Peralta. It's the kind of inning that you say you have to at least get one. They're essentially giving you that run the way that this inning is unfolded.
And you might look at that and say not a great at-bat for Matt Adams, but I think the wildness of Marquis kind of forced him to be a little defensive, kind of a defensive swing at that 2-strike pitch. And there's such a thing as being effectively wild, and that's what's happening so far.
Strike one on Johnny Peralta. 75 RBIs a year ago. Most by a Cardinals shortstop since Edgar Renteria. What a player he was.
El Capitan.
Peralta pulls it fair. Past the diving Frazier. Down into the corner. Carpenter scores. Holiday to third. Peralta to second. And a 1 goes up on the scoreboard for St. Louis.
We've seen Todd Frazier make this play an awful lot against the Cardinals. He's such a good defender. Johnny Peralta gets it just inside the bag. Frazier has tremendous range at third, but he can't get that one.
That may wind up being a very big hit in this game. Runners at second and third. Molina, the check swing did not go, says Joe West.
And for Cardinal fans who haven't had a chance to see Yadier Molina, yes, that is Yadier Molina. I asked.
Dropped a lot of weight first time last year. 7 seasons that he didn't catch at least 1,000 innings. Outfield is straight away. Chop to the left side. Frazier with it. And he makes the play. Cardinals strand 2. But a 2-out RBI double by Johnny Peralta past the diving Todd Frazier. Half inning in the books. St. Louis on top, 1-0. Johnny Peralta. Brian Price in his lineup. Billy Hamilton, the switch hitter. Then Joey Votto batting second in this lineup. Todd Frazier, Masaraco, Bruce, Bird. They drop down Brandon Phillips. Cozart batting 8th. Jason Marquis, the pitcher. He could swing the bat. Won a Silver Slugger with the Cardinals, and he'll bat 9th. There's a look at tonight's starter, John Lackey.
Those numbers combined with 2 clubs a year ago, including the Cardinals, of course, 14-10 record. And he has been a winner in his career. 10 wins or more, 11 straight years for John Lackey.
Matt Carpenter playing in on the grass. Billy Hamilton with 15 bunt hits last season, 3rd best in all of Major League Baseball. The Cardinals, for the most part, though, really held him in check, and it began on opening day last year.
I was going to ask you if you remember that game. You and I were doing that game together, and 4 strikeouts against Adam Wainwright. And I don't mean your regular average run-of-the-mill strikeouts. I mean, he was blown away by Wainwright. Looked like he didn't belong, but certainly lived up to the hype a bit with the stolen bases a year ago, and he's going to be a good player. Very good defender.
There's Wainwright. He'll get the home opener on Monday. 3 balls, 1 strike on Billy Hamilton. And here we go. The Hyundai pitch arsenal for John Lackey.
63% of the time he's going to throw a fastball. It'll either be the 4-seamer or a bit of a runner. Throws a cutter that sometimes looks like a slider 21% of the time. It mixes that with a curveball and very occasionally a changeup. But he, to me, gets outs for the most part with his slider or cutter, whatever you want to call it. That's the pitch where he can put you away.
Here's Joey Votto with Hamilton, the runner at first. Lackey a check on him. Billy Hamilton, the first player since Vince Coleman with 6 stolen bases through the first 3 games. Coleman did that with the Cardinals in 1987, and Vince went on to 109 steals that year. And that's a balk. Yep, that's a balk. Lackey knew it. Hamilton was waiting for the call. It took a while because I think everybody was so surprised that it was such an easy call.
Well, I don't believe I have ever seen the inside move to second base when there's nobody at second base. You can't do that. That's basically a balk, and again, it took everybody by surprise. Yeah, it looks like a balk. Feels like a balk. Yeah, it's a balk, all right. Have you ever seen that?
No. No, I have not. A real key this season for the Cincinnati Reds. It's not just health, but health of key players, and one of them is at the plate. Former MVP back in 2010, Joey Votto. And always the debate with Joey Votto, will he expand his zone? Will he try to hit for more power, or is he more worried about, bottom line, getting on base?
Well, he believes on-base percentage is the most important stat, and he's really kind of into that reality that, look, if I walk, even if there's a guy out in scoring position, if I walk, I'm still helping the team. That's a general debate in baseball. Does your RBI guy need to be your RBI guy or not?
Deep left. Off the top of the wall and into the seats. And that's why folks want to see him swing the bat. 2-1 Cincinnati. Joey Votto with his second home run of the young season, up to 6 RBIs.
Well, Votto hasn't walked yet this year either. And even though he likes the walk, how can you not like that if you're Joey Votto?
The swing and a miss by third baseman Todd Frazier. Just 62 games last year for Votto, and yet was still second on their team in walks. Think about that. Popped up, Molina calling for it. Makes the play. And when Votto's right, many times you'll see him do this, go the other way.
Good power the other way. That pitch is down and away. Really not a bad spot. Had good movement to it, but he was looking for it and drove it exactly where it was pitched. Again, the ball's going to travel here at Great American Ballpark. We've seen that over the years, and there's another example of it.
So 1 out, nobody on. Here's Devin Mesoraco. Big season for Devin last year, and before the campaign even began, Mesoraco was given the #1 job as Walt Jocketty traded away Ryan Hannigan, and Mesoraco took off with 25 home runs, drove in 80. That's chopped left side. Carpenter. That ball almost flipped out of the glove in the stretch by Adams for out number 2. Dobbs, Tire and Auto Center's defense. Holiday, Grichuk, and Hayward in the outfield. Carpenter, Peralta on the left side. Wong, Adams on the right side of the infield, and Yadier Molina is behind the plate.
I know Cardinal fans are excited to have Jason Hayward in right field and a Cardinal, but I think they're really going to like to see the defense of Hayward in that right field spot. He's got a strong arm and very good range in right field. We saw him make some nice plays out there. And Grichuk, very good center fielder, getting that first start of the season today.
Popped up left side. The shift was on. And so it's Peralta in foul territory making the catch. A walk to Billy Hamilton and Joey Votto. Off to a great start here in 2015 with his second home run. Reds on top 2-1. First pitch to Colton Wong, thank you guys, was taken for a ball. And the 1-0. Wong hits it in the air down the left field line. Bird will give chase, and it's out of play.
Colton did not have a very good spring swinging the bat, but I am not worried about the offense of Colton Wong. A year ago, 12 home runs and established himself as the regular second baseman out of spring training, and he's going to hit.
He was the first Cardinal in a decade with at least 10 home runs and 20 steals. Finished third in the National League balloting for Rookie of the Year behind Jacob deGrom and Billy Hamilton of the Reds. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Young player, I think, though, sometimes we see him put a lot of pressure on himself, which is to be expected. And Wong serves it into right for a base hit. His first hit of 2015.
Base hits seem to depressurize what goes on inside of a young player, and that hit's going to help Colton Wong. Again, not a bad location. Middle of the plate a bit, but he went down and got it. A lot of left-handed hitters, low ball hitters. And Marquis, a guy that likes to work down in the zone.
Here is Randal Grichuk. At 28 home runs combined in the minor leagues and the big leagues a season ago. Raw talent, I think, is one way to look at it. Mike Matheny telling us before the game we have to get him some at-bats. So the odd man out tonight, John Jay.
And Jay's certainly going to get his at-bats, and he'll be in the lineup tomorrow against Johnny Cueto. He hits very well, but Grichuk had as good a spring as anybody. You've got to find a way to get him some action. And interesting, he's hitting in the 8th spot. One of the other things that Mike told us before the game is there's not a single Cardinal that has more power, raw power, than Randal Grichuk.
That includes Holiday.
Exactly.
Big lead by Wong at first. That's pulled foul. In terms of the positions he can play all 3 outfield spots. Tonight he is in center. And I asked Mike, what's the natural position if he was playing every day? And he said with his arm, he's probably a right fielder. But we have a pretty good one out there in Hayward. Said in center, the fact that he can run and gets really good jumps, we're very comfortable with him playing there. In the air, left field. Hello, Randal Grichuk. His second swing of the season finds the seats. Nicely done, Randal. Cardinals back on top. So you were saying about the power.
And I'd say a pretty good idea getting him in the lineup, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
We saw a lot of that in spring training from Randal Grichuk. In fact, there was a big debate. Do the Cardinals send him to AAA to make sure he gets enough at-bats? And I think it got towards the end of spring training, and I think Mike Matheny, the other coaches, John Mozeliak, just determined that, we're going to find ways to get him at-bats at the big league level because he's ready.
It could be the constant struggle for Mike Matheny this year. You're not going to sit Holiday. You're not going to sit Hayward more times than not, maybe against a lefty. Jay's good against both righties and lefties as Lackey grounds out to third. You've got Johnny Cueto going tomorrow. Jay's got great numbers against him. So we'll see how it all plays out, but this is fun to see.
Here's the power of Grichuk. Got a ball up in the zone. Nearly 105 miles an hour off the bat of Grichuk. He generates a lot of power by having a quick bat, but he's also incredibly strong. His arms, incredibly strong. And has a good base, as all power hitters do.
Here's Carpenter. So Cardinals back on top 3-2. The 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. The familiar look of Matt Carpenter. Without the batting gloves. Not many players do that. For him, it's all about comfort. And a guy that's not afraid to go deep into a count. I was talking with Matt about that in spring training. He said in today's day and age, more times than not, you're going to get an off-speed pitch deeper in a count as Phillips puts him away. And he said, I'm very comfortable with that, and I've had to adapt, and I found this interesting, to the fastball at this level, where a lot of guys get here because they can hit the fastball.
Right.
Carpenter is a guy that gets here because he can hit the off-speed pitches.
I just hope we get a chance to see Carpenter for a long time. Kind of a late bloomer in some ways. 5-year college student and had injury in college, which delayed his professional career. And he's a 2-time All-Star now, but he's already 29. And it's kind of odd to think about that because he just got here. But Cardinals are hoping that work ethic of Matt Holliday will translate into a long career, and I think they're probably right about that.
Usually the first player to arrive at the ballpark along with Yadier Molina. No balls and 2 strikes on Hayward. Struck out back in the first inning. And the 0-2. What are your expectations for Jason Hayward this year?
Well, I've always felt that he's best as a gap hitter, and I'm going to be actually paying attention to how teams defend him. We know how teams will defend Matt Adams with shifts and Matt Holliday, but I think Hayward hits the ball to left center pretty well. I think he's a 20 home run guy and going to steal 20 bases and going to be a force in that second spot. You had to give up something to get him in Shelby Miller, one of the good young Cardinal starters, and we wish him well, of course, in Atlanta. But I think this was a great deal for the Cardinals.
That misses on the inside corner. He's at a great deal, though, if he's just a one-year player, free agent to be.
If in that 1 year he ignites this Cardinals offense, I say yes.
The 2-2. Let's hope he didn't hurt himself with that swing. Very odd swing by Hayward. Votto put the Reds on top 2-1. The fans out and left, they're busy tonight. Moments later, Randall Grichuk, 431 feet. My goodness. Pretty good numbers against John Lackey in his career. 10 for 27. Nice play, Adams. Flips to Lackey, and Bird retired for the first out here in the home half of the second as we check in with Jim Hayes. Jimmy.
You know, Dan, Jason Marquis, when he blew out his elbow back in 2013, he was pitching against the Cardinals in St. Louis. He told me today he knew the elbow had been blown out, and one of the first guys he reached out to was Adam Wainwright to find out about Tommy John surgery, because Adam had it, of course. Waino told Marquis to go ahead and do it, and he did. And Marquis told me that after the surgery there was tons of pain, so he called Waino to say, what did you do to me? But obviously it worked out for him. Waino told me that once he found out Marquis was healthy, he had no doubt that he would make it all the way back. According to Waino, he said that Marquis is one of the best athletes he's ever played with. Any sport, golf, obviously baseball, basketball. And then Dan Skip Schumacher backed it up, because Schumacher said he had to guard Marquis in a charity basketball game 4-on-4, and he was absolutely abused by Marquis.
Jason Marquis back in the big leagues. Speaking of basketball, Brandon Phillips' sister plays in the WNBA, and he's at the plate. And I was talking with Brandon before the game, and he, by the way, had glowing things to say about the fans in St. Louis, and I mean that sincerely. But he said, one-on-one, she probably beats me, but I'm the better athlete. I get a kick out of him. He has over 1 million followers on Twitter. He's always smiling. That's a foul ball. But he said, hey, if the fans aren't here, I don't get paid to do what I do and what I love, which is playing Major League Baseball.
I tell you what he showed me last year is that there's a lot of sincerity in him. He had a bad year. He got hurt a lot, but he's still the fan favorite here and still very kind of approachable and likable and positive. And, you know, it's kind of one thing when you're making all-star teams and getting gold gloves, and sometimes it's easy to be magnanimous then. But how about after you've had a bad year?
Grichuk going back in makes the catch. The defense has been outstanding here in the bottom of the second for Lackey with the play by Adams, and now the play by Grichuk in center. Follow the Cardinals with MLB.com at bat, #1 app for live baseball. In-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, and more. Get that at your smartphone or tablet. MLB.com at bat. Zach Cozart to Grichuk. And a 1-2-3 inning for John Lackey. Holiday, Adams, Peralta due up for St. Louis. 3-2 Cardinals. For the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. And Jack's hottest sandwich is back. Head to Jack in the Box for Jack's Blazin' Chicken Sandwich. Beautiful night. The Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. And Matt Holliday leads it off for the Cardinals. Takes a ball low and away. Holliday walked his first time up. It was a tricky hop for Todd Frazier. It stayed down, had a little bit of the top spin, looked to be off the lip of the grass, but he makes the play. Kia in the driver's seat. A closer look at Cardinals first baseman Matt Adams. Last year, .375 against the Reds and .344 in his career.
I really thought he broke out as far as a big league player that belonged in a game here at Great American Ballpark where he hit a couple of home runs. And he became a force. And I think he started to feel like the home runs I hit in the minor leagues, you know, I can hit them in the big leagues too. And I felt like he belonged, and he felt like he belonged after that particular night.
He made history that night for St. Louis with those home runs. Matt Adams, what turned out to be huge late inning home runs, one coming in the 14th.
I believe both of them were in extra innings.
Correct. And a punch out of the Cardinals first baseman. Third strikeout for Jason Marquis. Opening day at Busch Stadium is Monday. Fox Sports Midwest has your ticket to the festivities. We'll bring you an extended pregame show. All the opening day ceremonies from Busch Stadium. Home opener, and our coverage starts at 1:30 on Fox Sports Midwest. 1:30.
I've already got my ticket. I've got the best seat in the house for opening day. Right next to you.
You know, my ticket isn't as good.
Wait a minute.
Oh, wait, we're together Monday. My ticket's great.
Well, our view is great.
It is.
And it's always a special day. The Hall of Famers, history of the Cardinals to celebrate a new season.
You know what I hear from the players more than anything? And they mention the Hall of Famers. They talk about the Clydesdales.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're up close to them in right field before they come out. Lifted out to left. Bird is over and makes the catch on the run. Marlon Bird. So Peralta is 1 for 2 in game 1 of this series. Midway through 3. Cardinals on top, 3-2. Winning record prior to May 1st, and those consecutive seasons. Mike Matheny carrying on what Tony La Russa had built up, and that's 7. And there's a correlation when you look at some of those teams. Many of them had gone to postseason play.
A lot of October baseball, absolutely, with the Giants and the Dodgers, and certainly the Atlanta Braves of the mid to late 90s. What a great organization they had. They had everything just kind of rolling over year after year, but they got off to good starts, just as the Cardinals have been doing.
Jason Marquis at the plate, then Billy Hamilton and Joey Votto. It was 10 years ago to the date Jason Marquis had a triple in a game for the Cardinals. You may recall in that 2004 season, every starter made their start with the exception of one time. That was because it was a doubleheader. Wong can't get it, and Marquis fights it off and a base hit into center field. And that one start was Danny Herron, part of a doubleheader and a makeup.
Marquis gets jammed with this pitch in the inner half, but he's good enough and strong enough to get that one through the infield. Colton Wong maybe jumped a half a stride too soon to try to catch that. Not an easy play, to be sure.
Here's Billy Hamilton, who walked and scored back in the first. Showing bunt and strike one. I'm with you, Rick. You talked about how exciting Hamilton is. You know, speed in any sport it's fun to watch. I mean, in your era with Coleman and McGee, Ozzie, Pendleton, guys that could run. Tommy Herr could run a little bit. I mean, those teams were so much fun to watch. And Billy Hamilton has given that element of excitement here to the Cincinnati Reds as he flies out to left.
I think the Reds have excitement on two different levels, and I'm not the PR director for the Cincinnati Reds, but I will say that in my mind, two of the most exciting players in the National League are on this club. It's Billy Hamilton with his speed, and it's what Aroldis Chapman can do in the ninth inning that also has this crowd buzzing from time to time. He can do something, and both those guys can do something that nobody else can do. The way Hamilton runs and the fastball that Chapman has.
What the Reds are very pleased with is Lackey missed the ball back from Molina. Has to go behind the mound to get it. But the Reds are really pleased in the shape that Joey Votto has come into camp and now into the season in. They feel he's in very good shape. Brandon Phillips has dropped close to 20 pounds. As guys are getting older, trying to have that longevity and success in their careers, coming into shape.
I feel like this season is a bit of a do-over for the Cincinnati Reds from a year ago. Their lineup hasn't changed much other than Marlon Byrd. And I really do believe they have a chip on their shoulder, and they're running out of time collectively.
Good point. Guys are getting older.
So there's a lot of pressure on this particular season for Cincinnati.
Again, Votto, opposite way. Holiday looks up. He's done it again. A two-run homer. Reds back on top. And Votto is on fire to start this season.
I wish he would walk. That pitch about thigh high, again going the other way. Looked like a cutter that just sat up there a bit, and he doesn't miss many mistakes.
Todd Frazier trying to drop down a bunt. It's strike one. Only 6 home runs last year for Votto, and he's already halfway to what he had a year ago. The 1-1. Todd Frazier led all Major League third basemen in home runs, despite the fact that he played 43 games on the other side of the diamond filling in for Votto. He had 29 last year. Down the left field line, hooking, and foul. For Joey Votto, the 10th multi-home run game of his career. Came on a 2-0 pitch. Fly ball. Left center. And Holiday makes the catch. 6 again is a serious number at on the run. When the Cardinals score 6, any size drink is just 50 cents the next day. Coffee, fountain, or frozen. When they score, you pour. At your nearest on the run, you earned it.
Interesting spring training for John Lackey. He did this spring what he'd done a year ago with the Boston Red Sox, where he did not pitch early in the spring, saved it for the end, trying to save his bullets. And so far, he's made a couple of mistakes that have hurt him.
Mesoraco grounds out. Votto, 2 for 2. He has all the RBIs tonight for the Reds. A T-Mobile game changer to be sure. What Votto's been able to do here tonight, going the opposite way.
Well, you know he has power. You know he can hit. Also knows how to get on base. But of all of those things, this power surge here today, to me, is what is a bigger game changer. A walk isn't often a game changer the way that 2-run home run to left is.
Interesting to see the ball flying like it is here tonight, because the first month of the season, even though this is a home run ballpark, a hitter's ballpark, that first month it usually does not fly like we've seen it and carrying here tonight, and it carried into batting practice too. 0-2 to Yadier Molina. Molina grounded out to third with 2 runners on. First time up. Grounds out to Frazier as Yadi slams his bat. So for Cincinnati, some dramatic wins the first 3 games. And a team that's playing very well. These are the teams undefeated through the first 3. Detroit, the Rockies, surprising some. Kansas City did that against the White Sox. Cincinnati, and how about the Atlanta Braves?
I think the American League sweeps are not a surprise, but the National League sweeps are. Colorado,
so.
You wouldn't expect Colorado, Atlanta to be able to sweep.
Shelby Miller made one of those starts for the Atlanta Braves against the Marlins.
Well, I have been thinking about that as it relates to the Cincinnati Reds. Just think about how much they have heard about the Cardinals being the favorites again in the Central Division. Remember, the Reds 2 years ago were really good. 3 years ago, they were very, very good. And they hear about the Pirates, and they hear about the Cubs being contenders, and Milwaukee maybe, and then there's Cincinnati. And I think at some point, you kind of get mad about that. You feel like we've got something to prove.
Marlon Byrd puts away Colton Long. Out number 2. In steps Randall Grichuk back in the second inning. On a 1-1 pitch, parked it 431 feet into the seats and left. So 2 outs, nobody on. 1 ball, no strikes on Grichuk. Along with the power of Grichuk also comes a lot of swings and misses. Such a young kid, talented, can run, great arm, and a ton of power. The 2-1.
You mentioned the tough job that Mike Matheny is going to have finding enough at-bats for Randall Grichuk. The obvious thing would be he's going to play against left-handed starters, but Mike was kind of going through all the teams in his mind in the National League. There aren't as many as there used to be.
Marquis is 4th strikeout in a 1-2-3 inning. He is settled in. Hope you have as well back home. It's 4-3 Cincinnati. in again with Jim Hayes.
Dan, Randall Grichuk had one word to describe his feelings about starting tonight: excited. He told me so excited he was trying to find things to do so he could relax a little bit, extra swings in the cage, quick workout. Grichuk says because of the off days and rainouts, it felt like forever since he had played. He said that added to the excitement. He says he's just trying to carry over some of the things he was doing in spring training, like cutting down on strikeouts, and he wanted to keep driving the ball. Dan, I'd say he's done that.
A two-run homer earlier. Jay Bruce with a base hit into center. That's how we start the home half of the fourth. Chevy Fox Tracks and the pitch location here on Jay Bruce.
Lackey's gotten a couple of balls in the middle of the plate, but that also down. Again, left-handed hitters like that ball down. Jay Bruce had a rough year a year ago. And many believe that the shifts really altered his swing, and he never kind of got it back.
Since Adam Dunn left the Cincinnati Reds, they have had 26 different left fielders make a start. Added to that list, this man, Marlon Byrd. Walt Jocketty tried to acquire him at the trade deadline of last season, and they wound up getting Byrd from the Phillies this offseason. 1 ball, 1 strike. John Lackey in his 17th pro season. Byrd is 36 years of age. These two have seen each other a bunch. And a double play ball. Out at second, the turn by Wong. 6-4-3 with a double play.
I would say both veteran pitchers have not started out well in this game, but this is kind of how you get to be a veteran pitcher. You find a way to stay in it, and clearly not in the game plan of John Lackey to give up two-run home runs in the early going, but this game clearly still winnable for him. I'm sure Jason Marquis thinking the same way on the other side. And again, veteran pitchers find ways to keep their team in games.
2 outs, nobody on for Phillips.
Dan, I saw that in the minor leagues especially a lot with a really talented player who, when they were good, whatever they were doing, pitching, hitting, boy, when they were good, they were awesome. But then when they were bad, they would just kind of fold up the tent and say, well, it's not my day. And there wasn't that next gear, that adjustment ability. But clearly this is a game of adjustments at this level because everybody's good.
Sure. And I guess the question now for the Cardinals and John Lackey, how much does he have left in the tank? He's thrown nearly 2,500 innings, regular season and playoffs, since 2003. Now think about that. 4th most among active pitchers. Acquired from Boston. The big deal at the trade deadline for Joe Kelly, who starts tomorrow, by the way, against the Yankees, and Alan Craig.
Well, if he repeats a year ago, 14-10 with a 3.82, I would say that's enough in the tank for me.
Game 3 winner against the Los Angeles Dodgers in the playoffs. 7 innings, 5 hits in that start. Good pitch in on the hands of Phillips as Peralta makes the play. So leadoff single by Bruce. He's erased on the double play, and Phillips grounds out to short. We head to the 5th. Lackey leads it off when we come back. Jason Marquis is set down 9 in a row. Reds with a lead of 4-3. How about Jason Marquis, though? 1996, he was the 35th overall pick. Made his major league debut on June 6th of 2000. And to put it in perspective, the kind of career that he's had, let's give him some credit here. 121 wins. There's only 16 other active pitchers that have more wins right now than Jason Marquis.
Means he stayed around a while. He's learned to make adjustments, and we talked about how important they are. The adjustments he's made tonight, he's gotten better command of the strike zone, and his slider has gotten sharper. He's picked up 4 strikeouts after kind of beginning all over the place. He was kind of underneath his slider and hanging it, but he's gotten much sharper with it.
The 2-2. There it is again. 5 strikeouts. 2 pitchers tonight that have been in the big leagues an awful long time, and that's Marquis and Lackey. John made his debut in 2002. Marquis in 2000. Marquis has 5 shutouts, 8 complete games. He's even picked up a couple of saves along the way. Now pitching for his 9th different big league team.
You think about those 152 wins for John Lackey, and years ago pitchers were judged Hall of Fame, and I'm not talking about him as a Hall of Famer, but I'm saying Hall of Famers were 300 win guys.
Right.
And I just don't know how guys get to that anymore. Mark Burley winning his 200th today, and congratulations to him. Outstanding achievement for the St. Louis area native. But how hard is it to get to 300?
It's incredibly hard.
So 152 wins for Lackey is a very nice career.
5-man rotations. The 1-2 pitch inside to Matt Carpenter. So here's what we were talking about before with Carpenter. 2 strikes. He's comfortable in this spot. Will he see an off-speed pitch, which is something that he likes? He got it. And a strikeout of Carpenter. 6 strikeouts for Marquis.
Marquis was not getting that low pitch in the early going. He gets it here, just at the bottom of the strike zone. Again, it's the sharp slider that has proven to be very effective. Again, 4 strikeouts, last 7 batters.
Hayward 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. It's been pretty eye-opening this first week of the Major League season, not just with the Cardinals, but across Major League Baseball. The lack of offense, the amount of shutouts, how good pitching has been. Cardinals again tonight, only 3 hits.
Well, I think baseball has 2 kinds of fans. Actually, I'm not sure you can just put it into 2 neat little boxes, but I think some people love to see runs scored, and some people love pitchers' duels. So to say that that's a problem in baseball, I think you get a lot of people would argue with that. I mean, they want to see good pitching, good defense. They want to see a 7th inning decision by a manager making the difference between a 1-0 game and a 2-1 game. I think that's what makes baseball interesting. And multiple home runs, it gets the feeling a little bit like home run derby, which to me, not that excited about.
And that's one of the things that the Reds in the immediate future tonight will be dealing with. Aroldis Chapman has pitched in 3 ball games. So, do you want to press him in this game here tonight? Here's a 2-2.
Cardinals had that problem last year in the early going, if you remember. They won so many games, and we talked about how they get off to good starts in May. Won so many games, Trevor Rosenthal was in all the time.
Right. 3-2 pitch and a ground ball to second. Phillips casually makes the play over to Votto. Jason Marquis is settled in. midway through 5. Cozart, Marquis, Hamilton due up. Reds on top. All kids ages 15 and younger entering with a ticket receive their very own Cardinals baseball t-shirt courtesy of Pasta House and Coca-Cola. Get those t-shirts and your tickets at cardinals.com/promotion. Cardinals baseball. Tradition meets today. Zach Cozart at the plate and an 0-1 pitch from John Lackey. Center field. Grichuk going back and makes the catch.
So Lackey settling down just as Marquis has settled down. David Bell, the new Cardinal bench coach. He'll be the right-hand man for Mike Matheny all season long. This is a meaningful place for David Bell to be. His grandfather played here in Cincinnati. His grandfather grew up in Louisville but played for the Reds. His father, Buddy Bell, also played for the Reds at the end of his career. David went to Moeller High School here in Cincinnati, and I'm sure this is a ballpark that brings back a lot of meaning to him.
Line out off the bat of Marquis, and it brings in Billy Hamilton. All-Star game will be held here at the Great American Ballpark this season in Cincinnati.
People talk about, Dan, as we see that All-Star game sign above the right field bleachers, but what does a bench coach do? We say he's the right-hand man, but he has to be a step ahead of the manager. He's thinking about everything the manager's thinking, but he's kind of is an assistant, if you will. He's organizing a lot of the batting practices and the who's where and a lot of the logistics, but manager's got a lot of things he's thinking about. You rely on having a voice that is available to you. Matheny will make the decisions, but he needs input.
Hamilton claiming that hit the ground. Loses the argument. First strikeout for John Lackey. We head to the 6th. It's 4-3. prizes and free North Star ice cream treats while supplies last in the Ford Plaza. That's presented by Prairie Farms. Along with Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Get the feeling this could be a big inning for the Cardinals because Marquis is getting up there. The pitch count, it's at 89, and you got the heart of the lineup coming up.
Well, you expect to get some production when you're at 3, 4, 5. Holiday, Adams, and Peralta. And Peralta did the damage in the first inning, had the 2-out RBI double to score the first Cardinals run, but Marquis has been stingy the last few innings. And again, he's got that sharp slider that's working, and he's kind of feeling it. You can just see the confidence that has overcome Marquis, where he was a little bit edgy and defensive that first inning.
12 in a row. He is set down. Holiday fights it off. I asked Mike Matheny before the game, I said, you caught Jason Marquis. Here's one of the guys that's still playing that you caught. What do you take away from that now, seeing him still in the game? He said, what I can tell you is that he was hard-headed. He said sometimes we try to convince him to do certain things, but he wanted to do things his way. And he said it wasn't necessarily bad. It's just that's who he was. And that's who he is.
And the rest of that story eventually will be for Mike Matheny that there'll be some player playing somewhere, which will be the last guy that he played with. And he'll be rooting for that guy to still be playing just so you can feel younger. Trust me.
Phillips, no play. Infield hit for a Holiday.
It was a sad day for me when Julio Franco retired at the age of whatever it was, 48.
Yeah, he was 62 playing for the Braves.
But I played winter ball with Julio, and boy, was I rooting for him year after year.
Where are they now? These are the active players from 06. Wainwright, Molina, Schumacher, and Marquis, and Albert Pujols, who is healthy and hitting again in Anaheim.
Isn't it amazing to think that there's only 5 players from that 2016 that are actually playing Major League Baseball right now? It just seems
like yesterday.
Yeah, it does to me, and it shows how short the big league career really is.
Skip Schumacher now 35. Had a nice conversation with him before the game. One of our favorites.
He looks great, doesn't he?
Sure does. Adams 0 for 2. J.J. Hoover throwing in the Reds' pen. The bullpen had its issues a year ago for Cincinnati. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Adams rolls over on it. Ground ball. Out at second and safe at first. They almost turned the double play. They do get the lead man, Holiday.
So Brian Price kind of waiting to see whether his folks in his dugout and in the video room believe that Adams is in fact safe. He looks safe to the naked eye, and he, hard to tell there, but I think he is safe. Certainly not enough there to show anything different, but again, a difference this year. The manager's not coming out to the field to protest. They're kind of just putting their hand up to the umpire saying, just wait a minute, please. I'm not sure it's going to speed things up much to do it that way, but because you still have to wait to get the word from inside, whether you want to challenge it or not. But it was awkward for managers to come out onto the field a year ago.
1-0 pitch to Peralta. Base hit into right. As Phillips, I'm not sure if he was blocked or just didn't read it off the bat. Regardless, Adams winds up at third, and that could have been a tailor-made double play.
Well, why he's breaking towards the bag is a mystery, because certainly Adams isn't running. So where is Phillips going here? Here's a hard hit ground ball to the right side. I don't believe he saw the baseball. He just must have misread it off the bat, and once he started going right, he had no chance.
It's Kerwin Danley, the umpire, in the middle of the diamond, and he's talking right now with Phillips. From that replay, to me, it was just that he didn't see it off the bat because he was not behind Danley. Odd play for a guy that's usually very, very sure-handed and one of the top defenders in the league. So the Cardinals now have runners at first and third, and they need to get Yachty going. Twice he is grounded out to third. 0 for 2, still looking for his first hit. Danley and Phillips still talking out there.
And that's got to be the reason. I mean, for him to be breaking to his right, there he is behind Danley, but now he moves further behind him. Again, the baseball's coming kind of inside-out swing from a right-handed batter. Maybe it's just kind of inside his line of sight with Danley, but still hard to imagine that happening.
I would assume that turns into a 4-6-3 double play.
Absolutely.
The Cardinals catch a break. Trailing 4-3 here in the top of the sixth. Runners at first and third. Marquis at an even 100 pitches.
But when you catch your break, you have to use that break. You can't let it go.
0-2 the count. Peralta the runner at first, Adams at third, and Molina is swing and a miss, and he strikes out. In one of the biggest strikeouts of the night for Jason Marquis. He has 7.
And again, it's a slider. That really wasn't a very good one. It just kind of spun up in the zone. And Yachty really swings and misses more at the change of speed of that pitch than he does the break.
So runners at first and third for Colton Wong. Cardinals picked up a 2-out RBI double from Peralta back in the first, and now Wong needs to come through with 2. On deck, Randall Grichuk. You just wonder if Marquis right now is on fumes. Wong in the air. Long way to go for Bird, but he's under it. Jason Marquis, his Reds debut back in the big leagues. 7 strikeouts and a 4-3 lead. Fox Sports 1. The Cardinals meet the Reds starting at 11:30 here on Fox Sports Midwest. MLB returns to Fox Sports 1 doubleheader. Red Sox take on the Yankees, Royals and Angels. Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. What a night for Joey Votto. A pair of 2-run homers, and that's the difference in this game. First pitch by Lackey is a strike. Votto, Frazier, and Mesoraco. Joey Votto is now 31 years old and only in year 3 of a 10-year, $225 million contract. His knee and quadricep issues that he had a year ago. And a ground ball that's hit to short. One away. The pitching matchup for tomorrow might be the best in the game. Michael Wacha, Johnny Cueto in our Budweiser What's on Tap. That's tomorrow at 11:30. We'll come your way with the pregame show.
How about our pitching matchups in this series? You've got the veteran Lackey against the veteran Marquis. You've got the talented Wacha and the talented Cueto. On Sunday, you've got the young Latin pitcher Carlos Martinez and the young player making his debut after playing years in Cuba, Iglesias, on Sunday. You've got a really kind of an interesting pairing in each one of these series, each one of these games.
1-0 is pulled foul off the bat of Todd Frazier. Hitless tonight. Cueto was the first Reds pitcher with 20 wins since Danny Jackson. He did it back in 1988. And a free agent to be is Mr. Cueto. There's some pretty big names. I was going through a list just looking at guys that could be free agents. David Price, Jeff Samardzija, Jordan Zimmerman. Zach Greinke could opt out of his deal with the Dodgers. Doug Fister, Matt Latos, Giovanni Gallardo. I mean, those are pretty big names.
I think all 7 of them are going to sign with the Dodgers next year.
Well, the Dodgers could afford it.
They're going to be tough. San Diego, I think, made themselves not just a good team, but they made themselves a contender by getting Kimbrel.
Ian Kennedy left their game early yesterday. Yeah, Kimbrel is just lights out. Outstanding closer for years with the Atlanta Braves. 3-2 the count on Todd Frazier.
That's one of the reasons people look forward to the baseball season starting. So many teams kind of with a new look and with the chance to maybe do something special. Everybody knows that baseball is not just what you are on paper, but what you are on the field. There's always surprises, and I just think that's what makes it interesting.
A 3-2 pitch. Missed on the outside corner. The Yadier Molina bobblehead is coming up. It'll feature his 7 Gold Glove and 3 Platinum Glove awards. Saturday, April 18th. 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will add Yadi and his bobblehead to their collection. The Yadier Molina bobblehead, presented by Central Bank of St. Louis. Second walk issued by John Lackey. An activity now in the Cardinals' pen. Here's Devin Mesoraco. Now, you've seen the movie The Natural.
Of course.
Any baseball fan loves the movie The Natural. The bat that was used by Robert Redford was from a tree that was struck by lightning. Wonder Boy. Remember?
Wonder Boy, that's right.
Devin Mesoraco is using bats from trees, maple trees, that are on his property. He's got 40 acres. And of all places, Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Yes, that place.
Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day.
Saw that movie too.
And so he's actually made through Marucci bats about 20 bats from his property. And he's using them. They're maple bats that he's got. So it's not quite the Wonder Boy, and the trees were not struck by lightning, but they are from his property, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
He met with the bat maker, and they told him, you know, we get a lot of bats from that area in Pennsylvania. Where exactly do you live? He said, well, I'm in Punxsutawney. And he said, we get them there all the time. Let's go to your property and let's make you some bats. So that's what he's got. He's got bats from his property. And that's about 85 miles northeast of Pittsburgh. One and two the count.
So you're telling me if he breaks a lot of bats in a particular series, it's good business for him?
You just blame Ned Ryerson.
Needle-nosed Ned.
There, you got it. Okay, good. Ned?
Oh, you thought you slipped one by me?
I did.
Dan.
I thought I may have had you on that one.
No, not even close.
Phil Connors. Misiracco with a fly ball into center. And from Groundhog Day, we go to an epic international showdown when the United States men's national team takes on Mexico. As the Americans look to extend a 4-year unbeaten streak against their historic rivals at the sold-out Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. Coverage begins at 7:30 on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
It was a great segue, by the way. You are in mid-season form, Danny Mac.
Oh. At the plate, it is Jay Bruce with 2 outs and a breaking ball. You mentioned earlier about the shifts that Jay Bruce had to deal with last year. He had 188 at-bats against the shift and hit just 181. And the Cardinals have a shift here even with a runner at first. May have beat the shift there. Left center. Well hit. Grichuk over and makes the catch up against the wall. A lot of ground to cover. Grichuk was in right center and takes that away in one of the deepest parts of the park. Randall Grichuk will lead it off when we come back. He has a 2-run homer tonight. And this catch in center on the track. 4-3 Reds. Hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers will donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Our score is 4-3, and our Chevy call to the pen brings us to former closer with various teams, the Marlins, the Cubs, and now he's found a home, at least he hopes he has, with the Cincinnati Reds. It's Kevin Gregg.
He was originally slated to be the 8th inning pitcher, but he got beat around by the Pirates in his first appearance this season, so he may have lost that already to Jumbo Diaz, who is the other kind of 8th inning candidate. But he's a guy, as you mentioned, with closer experience. He'll be a veteran help in this bullpen for Cincinnati.
So Jason Marquis, 6 innings, 3 runs, 5 hits, strikes out 7, 2 walks, 1 home run, and that was to this man, Randall Grichuk. 0-1 pitch.
Greg has always had a good breaking ball. I always felt that his fastball was a little straight, and we saw that with pitch 1 to Grichuk, and he better not make a mistake with a straight fastball to Randall Grichuk.
We talked about the injuries the Reds dealt with a year ago. Also a sore spot was their bullpen. 1 ball, 1 strike. Even with Aroldis Chapman, an ERA just slightly below 2, Jonathan Broxton had a 1.86 ERA. Collectively, Ryan Price's bullpen was over 4, the ERA. It's sharply to short. Cozart makes the play. And that was the 2nd worst in the National League. Plaza Tire Fox Tracks.
Breaking pitch, middle in, not really a great pitch from Greg. The location ended up okay, but not very sharp. Grichuk hit it hard, but right at Cozart.
The pinch hitter is John Jay. So John Lackey is through for the night. And Jay on the first pitch pops it foul and out of play. Randy Choate, Seth Maness warming in the pen. 1 ball and 1 strike.
You know, it's interesting, John Jay not getting the start today. It seems like his entire career he's always gotten pushed. He's always gotten pushed by somebody. It's Borges, and maybe now it's Grichuk. And yet, at the end of the day, John Jay gets his at-bats. He hits 300. Becomes an important part of the team's offense, plays good defense, and he's a guy that I think is pretty easy to underestimate.
The 2-1. Center fielder on a world championship team, and then the teams after that that have gone to the NLCS, another one to the World Series. John Jay is in center field. The 3-1. Base hit into right. So pinch hit single for John Jay. The BJC Healthcare difference maker, Matt Carpenter. As Carpenter digs in for the 4th time tonight, but look at that, 67% of the time. Those highest percentage of pitches taken in Major League Baseball a year ago. Rarely do you see that. Carpenter swinging at the first pitch. Matt has walked and scored, grounded out to second, and struck out looking back in the 5th.
Trying to figure out what's going on here at the ballpark, Dan. There's a lot of flashing lights going on from the fans, especially up in the upper deck. And you just wonder whether that's a distraction to anybody on the field, but it is all over the ballpark here. Makes me think Mark McGwire's at the plate, and it's 1998.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Now with the count at 2 balls and 1 strike, would you think about starting the runner here in John Jay? Good running count if you'd like to do it. John may have been leaning there too. A slightly bigger lead. The 2-1 hit out of play, 2-2.
My best guess, Dan, is those are cell phones and lights on cell phones, but I can't think for the life of me why they're doing it.
The 2-2. Jim Hayes, all the lights going off here at the ballpark. What do we have?
Rick is right. They're cell phones, according to the Cincinnati PR staff. It's something Reds fans just started doing on their own last year. I guess another team, maybe the Angels fans, were also doing it, and they have no idea when it's going to happen or how it started. But they get together and flash the lights from their cell phones, guys.
Runner goes, ground ball right side, off the glove of Votto, and Carpenter is safe. So runners at first and second. And Jason Hayward will come to the plate. You would have to think that the Reds would go to their bullpen with 3 lefties that they have out there.
Ball finds the hole. Carpenter able to beat it out. Didn't hit it hard, but hit it to the right spot. And here comes Brian Price. And as you mentioned, he has the luxury of 3 lefties. Parra has been the guy that's been very successful against St. Louis.
Tough start for Kevin Gregg to this 2015 season. 4-3 Cincinnati. No surprise fees at checkout. That's right, on StubHub, the price you see is the price you pay. Plus, with the StubHub app, you can buy and sell Cardinals tickets anytime, anywhere. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals. So the Cardinals have 2 on, 1 out. Reds, a Chevy Cole to the pen. And this is Manny Parra. And this is the move if you're Brian Price. Jason Hayward last year hit well below 200 against lefties, but on Sunday night, 3 hits against lefties.
Parra has been a guy that's been successful against the Cardinals, and one of those guys that is a converted starter. You think about Zach Duke as another one that really found a home in the bullpen, and there's his Hyundai pitch arsenal. 45% fastballs and 21% curveballs. Also has a slider and a splitter to go along with it, but he's going to get you with his slider, especially the left-handed batters.
Tony Cingrani in that pen from the left side. Chapman, their closer. Now it's Hayward. Shift on here for Jason. Runners at first and second. Runner at first is Carpenter. At second, John Jay.
Kansas City Royals a year ago were as good as they were because you got to the 7th inning and the game was over. The Reds right now, you get to the 9th inning and the game is over. If they could develop a little bit more oomph in that 7th and 8th inning, they could be a team to contend with.
Hayward up the middle, base hit. Here comes John Jay. The throw will go to third. This game is tied. Carpenter is out there, but Jason Hayward comes through against a lefty again. And we're tied up 4-4. A single up the middle past the diving Brandon Phillips to score John Jay.
Well, I don't believe yet that Hayward has trouble with left-handers, despite what the numbers say. Past the diving Brandon Phillips. So the good news is you get the base hit. The bad news is Carpenter, going first to third, is out with a strong throw from the center fielder Hamilton. And we've talked about his defense, and it was on display there. He has a very, very strong arm.
So intentional pass of Holiday to get to Adams. The Cardinals now having used John Jay, an all right-handed bench. We should mention Tony Cruz is not with the team. He wanted to be at the birth of his daughter. Congratulations to Tony and his family. So Ed Easley is your backup catcher for the weekend. Still on the bench, Borges, Reynolds, and Cosma. And I think this might be your spot for Mark Reynolds. Yep, here it is. So be his first plate appearance. And this is the spot that the Cardinals have been looking for, I'd say, the last handful of years. A guy coming off the bench that can deliver some thump.
Well, he's a guy coming off the bench that'll scare you at the very least. If you make a bad pitch to Mark Reynolds, he's going to hurt you. I mean, he can be pitched to. Let's be frank about that. The strikeouts in his career show that. But when you've got a guy that can come in this situation and get you on your heels a bit and make you think, I think there'll be times where he forces some pitching changes just because you don't want to face Reynolds with a lefty in this kind of situation. There's his numbers as a pinch hitter. Again, the home runs, to me, what stands out.
And Brian Price will counter with a right-hander. They have Badenhop, Hoover, and Diaz from the right side in their pen. Mark Reynolds with 2 runners on. Coming up. He had 10 losses last year, the most by a Reds reliever since Tom Hume went 9-10 in 1980.
There was a time they thought that he would be the closer of the future for the Cincinnati Reds, and then they decided to put that Chapman guy out in the bullpen instead of using him as a starter, which I think has worked out pretty well for Cincinnati. But Hoover has very good stuff. He throws hard, but there are times where he's hittable. I mean, for a guy throwing 95 to be hittable, it's almost hard to believe you're saying that. But I think there are times where his ball straightens out and he makes some mistakes.
So here is Reynolds with 2 runners on. The splits for the big slugger, Mark Reynolds. 7 consecutive years of 20 or more home runs. And the 0-1 pitch. Make it 0-2.
Pretty good location there. In fact, real good. Down and away. So Mike Matheny had the choice, Dan. Do you have Adams hit against the lefty Parra or Reynolds hit against a righty? And I think one of the reasons you may have wasted Matt Adams here, but you forced the Reds to use 3 relievers in 1 inning.
Yeah.
I think there are times where you do push that and should push that.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Reynolds. Inning started with Kevin Gregg. 3rd of an inning, a run, 2 hits allowed. Manny Parra, 3rd of an inning, a hit. The walk was intentional, and now J.J. Hoover. Two balls, 2 strikes. Good cut. This, again, is the threat the Cardinals have not had in quite some time, unless a regular was coming off the bench for that particular night. But this guy is a threat. And again, he strikes out a lot. You'll see a ton of swings and misses. And every once in a while, he'll get into one. There's your swing and miss. He strikes out. So the Cardinals strand 2, but they tie it up thanks to Jason Hayward. His single up the middle to bring in John Jay. It's 4-4. Play. Both starters knocked out of the game as the Cardinals go to the pen. We're tied up 4-4. Bottom of the 7th. From the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, along with Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Seth Maness, our Chevy Cole to the pen. And Marlon Byrd, who delivered yesterday late, the walk-off win. Seth has been a workhorse. Fly ball, deep right. Hayward back with room, and he's got it.
Wow, did that ball carry to right? You mentioned that earlier, Dan. I can't believe that ball made it to the middle of the warning track. Now, he may have squared that up pretty well on the bat, but a little bit of an inside swing, inside-out swing, and that ball nearly got out of here.
If you're John Lackey, you go back and you say, I gave up 2 home runs to one of the best hitters in the game, in Joey Votto, as you get a look at Phillips. Other ballparks, one may have been caught, the one that hit off the top of the wall. The other one was more into the gap in left center, but you know, you don't want to say they're cheap home runs. A home run is a home run in the major leagues.
Well,
but you know, you think about how this ballpark plays to the hitter.
And ultimately what John Lackey did is give his team a chance to win. And yes, you could look at those home runs and say, you know, numerically it was not great for earned run average and other stats, but honestly, he leaves this game with his team in it. Kind of didn't give up, didn't kind of lose his form. He wasn't sharp today at all, but he gave his team a chance.
Mark Reynolds stayed in the game after pinch hitting. He's at first base and puts that away. Mazda game summary. Cardinals with 8 hits. Cincinnati with just 4. John Lackey, you see his line. The 6 innings, but the 2 home runs allowed. Grichuk, a 2-run shot in the second. Marquis, very good tonight with 7 strikeouts. And a strike to Zach Cozart, who twice has flied out to center field. Kevin Segrist is throwing in the Cardinals pen, and Jumbo Diaz, as Rick mentioned earlier, 1 series into the season, and he looks to be their 8th inning man.
Guarding the line at third is Matt Carpenter, especially with 2 outs. Doesn't matter.
Called third strike, and Maness a 1-2-3, bottom of the 7th. Peralta, Molina, Wong due up. Ballpark Village and a Bomberito Sports Update with Matt Paris. All right, thank you, Pat. Looking forward to the post game with you and Hungo, and here is Johnny Peralta. J.J. Hoover's still in the game. Hoover is from Pittsburgh, lives now year-round in Cincinnati. He came over from Atlanta in exchange for Juan Francisco back in 2012. Hearing Pat talk about that Pittsburgh-Milwaukee game, just wonder if there's a lingering effect at all with the collapse that Milwaukee had a year ago, and if it carries over into this season. Again, we're only 4 games in, but you wonder where they'll be after a month or two.
Talked about the year-long absence of success here in Cincinnati after a lot of good years prior, but Milwaukee was best team in the Central Division for a long time a year ago, and then the collapse makes you wonder, is this team ever going to be good again? But certainly they've got Gomez and Braun, and they've got some talented players on their team, and just not sure about their pitching staff. Some days I like them, some days I don't.
Peralta 2 for 3 tonight. A 2-out RBI double back in the first. That scored Matt Carpenter. He's also flied to left and singled in the 6th. The 2-2. Molina on deck, and then Colton Wong. And a swing and a miss. That pitch right there is the difference between the major leagues and the minor leagues. A tie game late and a 3-2 nasty breaking ball on the black.
An unhittable pitch right there. The only thing he could do is recognize that maybe that's going to be low and take it. But when you're in a defensive posture and trying to protect the plate, you've got to swing at it. So credit Hoover there. Cardinals, by the way, set up. You mentioned Segrist in the Cardinals bullpen. They're set up for him to pitch the 8th inning with the left-handers coming up. The Reds will have 9, 1, and 2, so you'll see Hamilton, who's a switch hitter, and Votto. So I'd expect to see at least some of Segrist in the bottom of the 8th.
1 ball, 1 strike on Yadier Molina. Twice has grounded out to third tonight and struck out with 2 runners on in the 6th. Today, one of the most important dates in the history of baseball. 1947, Jackie Robinson, first African American to sign a major league contract. Late on that swing, Molina strikes out. Hoover has come in, faced 3, and struck out 3.
You mentioned Yachty very late on those last 2 fastballs. I'm not sure if he was looking for a off-speed pitch, looking for that slider that Hoover struck out Peralta with, or whether he was just trying to take the ball the other way. But swing looked long to me, very long.
Colton Wong 1 for 3 with a run scored. Scored on the home run hit by Grichuk back in the 2nd. His single was to right. No balls and 2 strikes, and Hoover a strike away from striking out the side, and 4 in a row. Some of this crowd on their feet. Wong, fair ball into the corner. Colton can fly on his way to second base. And the Cardinals have the potential go-ahead run in scoring position.
Well, the defensive take the ball the other way swing that we talked about from Molina with 2 strikes is exactly what we see from Colton Wong. He tried to elevate, and Wong just dropped the bat, head on it, and took it the other way. And this is just barely fair. Right over the bag into the left field corner, and the Cardinals with a chance to take the lead here.
Brian Price is visiting with the home plate umpire. That's Lance Barksdale, and I'm sure he's questioning whether or not that ball was fair or foul.
Can't review it.
Can't review it, and it's the third base umpire who's on that call, and that ball may have even just skimmed the bag. I mean, he's right there. It looked like it may have even hit it. Randal Grichuk. Can he come through? 1 for 3 on the night. Peter Borges has moved to the on-deck circle. The 1-0 to Grichuk.
Well, what we've seen from Randal Grichuk early in his career, we talked about his base. You watch him in batting practice. He's just so solid with his legs. There's Borges in the on-deck circle. He'll pitch hit for Manus. But a very solid lower half, slightly open stance, low hands for Randal Grichuk, low and quick hands.
The 1-1 pitch to Grichuk. Here it comes. Colton Wong is getting a huge secondary lead, and it's almost as if Phillips and Cozart aren't even worried about him.
Well, he knows there's a big arm in center, a big arm in right. He better get a good jump.
Ground ball hit too short. Cozart makes the play. So Hoover, an inning and a third of scoreless baseball. We're tied 4-4. Is brought to you by Budweiser. Still brewed the hard way. This Bud's for you. A 4-4 game from the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. Along with Rick Horton, Dan McLaughlin with you and our entire Fox Sports Midwest crew. Our Chevy called to the bullpen. Our third pitcher used by the St. Louis Cardinals tonight. John Lackey, 6 innings. Seth Maness, a scoreless 7th, and now Jordan Walden here in the 8th.
He's going to be the 8th inning pitcher, so Mike Matheny not going with the left-hander Segras this inning, and he's going to go with his 8th, 9th situation that he's planning on doing all season long, and Walden's got big-time stuff. We focus a lot about just this violent delivery of Jordan Walden, but you can look at his career numbers and focus on the strikeouts and the effectiveness too, and he's an important part of that Hayward trade.
And for fans that have not maybe been able to check out the day games at spring training. It's as unique a delivery that you'll find. He's actually, the back leg is in the air when he throws the baseball. Kind of jumps at the hitter, deception, and a big, and I mean big, powerful arm that will get it to 95, sometimes 97, 98.
Talking with Jeff Brantley, who does radio with Cincinnati. As you look at him jumping with that back foot off the mound, we both racked our brains trying to think of anybody we ever have seen do that. And he said, Tom Seaver was a drop and drive pitcher, but he's a drop, drive, and jump pitcher. I mean, there's an extra something that Walden does where he's actually leaving contact with the rubber that I've never seen a pitcher do.
One ball, 2 strikes. Brennan Bosch, who won a batting title, the PCL a year ago. He has spent some time in the major leagues. And a swing and a miss. And a strikeout of Bosch. First strikeout for Walton.
So one more time, Dan. Let's look at the delivery. There's the back foot in the air. Hasn't thrown yet. Now he's landed. So you're basically reestablishing your base on your back toe with the stiff front leg that most pitchers throw off of. But for a moment, he's kind of all momentum going home, but he does not have the base. And how he throws strikes that way out, I just can't fathom. But it works.
Here's Billy Hamilton.
And how about the length of the stride that results in?
The 1-0 pitch on its way. 2-0. Hamilton walked, scored on the Votto home run. That was in the first. He's also flied out to left and struck out swinging in the 5th. A switch hitter, Billy Hamilton.
We talked in our keys to the game about the importance of keeping Hamilton off base. The fact that he was able to walk in front of Votto, another key, silencing his bat. That didn't work in the first inning, so Cardinals had to play catch-up.
Speed just disrupts everything. I think it disrupted Lackey in the first inning when he got on.
With the balk?
Yeah. And now here we go. Hamilton is aboard. For a patient hitter like Votto, he's now in the second spot in the lineup. And I think an interesting dynamic of being a second place hitter with Hamilton's speed is how many pitches do you take to give him a chance to steal second base?
Joey Votto's not afraid to hit with 2 strikes, and this is the time to do that. He's got to give Hamilton a chance to go to second. Cardinals know that. Yadier Molina knows that. 30,808 people here in the ballpark know that.
Last year, Hamilton was never caught stealing by the Cardinals. He was 5 for 5. Leaning towards second, not running, and the pitch is taken for a ball. So 56 steals. That was tied for second in Major League Baseball. D. Gordon led the National League, but the 56 stolen bases, a record for a rookie in Cincinnati history. There he goes. Good jump. Molina to second. He got him. No. He looked to be out. Mike Matheny thought so as well. He's on the top step of the dugout. I think Peralta was shocked that he wasn't called out.
The throw was right on the money from Yadier Molina. Cardinals checking. There's your answer.
Wow.
There's the slide, the tag. Is the hand in first? He's got the ball, the tag. Looks like the hand may be in.
It was. Good call. Hamilton with his 7th stolen base already this year. With first base open, an intentional walk. Joey Votto. I'm not sure Molina could have gotten rid of it any quicker or throw any better, and Hamilton still beat it.
Clearly safe. Good call.
Absolutely.
I tell you what I admire about stealing in this situation. It's one thing to rack up numbers, but when you rack up a stolen base in a tie game in the 8th inning, those are the one that really hurt you. That means something. It's like the guy that hits 30 home runs, Dan, that don't mean anything, versus the guy that hits the home run in the 8th inning to win ball games.
Last year, Cincinnati had 38 one-run losses. We are tied late in this game, and thus far, small sample size, they've shown a propensity to win these games.
Which is what they did 2 years ago and the year before that. A lot of walk-offs here in Cincinnati a couple years ago.
So now it's Frazier. Ball gets away. Molina can't find it. Hamilton to third. They're giving Todd Frazier a steady diet of that breaking ball on the outer half, and he's been chasing it. Did it with Lackey and does it on the first pitch there. Runners at the corners. Carpenter playing in a step or two at third. Reynolds holding at first, outfield straight away. St. Louis has turned one double play tonight. Oh, 1 pitch. What a play there by Yadier Molina. I mean, think about what we're just talking about. You're getting Todd Frazier with breaking balls away, and yet still the confidence to call it with a guy at third base, because you know he'll block it more times than not.
Well, Yadi makes a great play, but Votto doesn't go first to second on that.
Good point. Keeps the double play in order. He's running here. No throw by Molina. If he does throw, Hamilton so fast probably scores.
I'm not sure if he didn't go on that pitch before because Frazier had his hand up telling him not to, which may have been a mistake.
Infield now comes in. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Todd Frazier. Fly ball. Hayward, great arm. Hamilton tagging up. Throw to the plate is not in time. 5-4 Cincinnati.
The arm of Hayward and the speed of Hamilton. Great throw, great speed.
Runner at second is Votto. Here's Devin Mesoraco. And give Todd Frazier credit. He looked lost at the plate at times tonight, and yet gets the fly ball when they need it most. And you mentioned it earlier. Reds, 8 innings with a lead going to the 9th. Chapman looming.
Well, Dan, I talked about their 2 exciting players. Billy Hamilton clearly brought some excitement to this crowd here in the bottom of the 8th, but they are awaiting the top of the 9th too here in Cincinnati because they know who's out there.
0-2 pitch. Cardinals have a pinch hitter, and then the top of the lineup, Carpenter and Hayward. Brian Price facing the decision to go with Chapman for a third consecutive day and 4 out of 4 games. Pitched an opening day, then they had the off day. Back-to-back games in with Pittsburgh. He pitched in those games. Popped up. Molina called off by Carpenter, who makes the catch. The speed of Billy Hamilton. The stolen base. And then watch this young man fly. Tagging up against Hayward. The strong throw. 5-4 Cincinnati. Jordan Walden, stolen base, advanced in a wild pitch and scores a sac fly. So no hits in the inning, and yet they pick up the go-ahead and potential winning run. Now it's the Chevy call to the pen. It's Borges, Carpenter, and Hayward against Aroldis Chapman, and here we go.
No success, 0 for 12, 10 strikeouts against Chapman, who was topping out at 101 against the Pirates in the last series. But I'm told his slider was better than his fastball.
He struck out 53% of the batters that he faced last year and allowed only 21 hits in 54 innings. 21 hits, 54 innings for Chapman. You wonder, part of the thinking with this is that you've got Cueto going tomorrow, who goes deep into games. You probably would not use Chapman tomorrow, have him ready to go for Sunday, potentially. Goodbye. Man, oh man. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cardinals.
It may not sound like a lot, Dan, but I thought we would see Chapman today because it was a day game yesterday, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but that extra half day of rest, I think, for a pitcher can make a difference.
Carpenter, base hit into right. The tying run is aboard. Matt Carpenter on base for the third time. His second hit, and he also had a walk. Our Budweiser player of the game, Joey Votto, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs. Budweiser player of the game. Jason Hayward against Manny Parra with 1 out and 2 on in the 7th. Delivered a single to tie the game. His hits this year have been against lefties,
but not this one. Can you imagine there being a tougher chore for a left-handed batter than to hit against Chapman? He's got that long delivery, very lanky. The ball gets on you in a hurry. And the worst part about Chapman from the opposing viewpoint is his slider can be so devastating. So you've got to guard against that.
Chop towards the middle. Phillips leaps for it, and a catch at second by Cozart, barehanded.
That could have been a disaster for the Cincinnati Reds and a big break for the Cardinals. But Phillips, who's had a little trouble defensively today, makes a nice play, off-balance flip, and there's the bare hand by Cozart. Wow. And I love this matchup here.
Holiday, Chapman, 1-run lead for Cincinnati. Reynolds on deck if Holiday can extend the ball game. Holiday walked in the first, grounded out to third. Infield hit in the 6th, and then was intentionally passed in the 7th. 1 ball, 1 strike. One and 2.
One thing Hayward gives you is you are a double away from tying this game. A double in the right spot by Matt Holliday with his speed.
Two and 2. Goodbye. Reds are 4-0 to start this season. Holiday could not pull the trigger. 5-4 the final on this Friday night.
Well, Dan, the Reds are off to a very good start this season. We saw the best of the Reds today. Joey Votto with his bat, the 2 home runs. Chapman closing it out with a fastball at 101, and the speed of Billy Hamilton, the key in this game, walking him in the 8th inning, and that's why the Cardinals go home losers tonight.
Rick talked about it midway through this game. There's one way to electrify this crowd with the speed of Billy Hamilton. Another way, the speed, the velocity of that man, Aroldis Chapman. Last pitch, triple digits. Reds 4-0. Post-game show comes your way next.